Today, you're going to learn 50 plus phrases to confidently share your ideas. Of course, I'm Jennifer from jforcedenglish.com, and this channel is dedicated to helping you feel confident speaking English in public so you can take your career and your life to the next level. Now, before we go any further, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. Now, let's dive in with this lesson. Are you ready to add 50 plus phrases to your vocabulary to confidently share your opinions? Of course, you can use this when you're in meetings at work, you're giving a presentation, you're talking to some friends, you're going to a networking event, you're at a party. So you can use this in more formal and informal situations as well. Now let's get started with first sharing your personal opinion. Let's say you're in a work meeting and you have an idea you want to share with everyone. We should hire a marketing expert to build our website. You can absolutely say that, but you can sound more professional, more advanced if you use an opinion word. Now, there are many different phrases you can use to share your personal opinion. I recommend starting with 2 to 3 that you like the most, and then you can add more once you get comfortable with them so you have variety and you're not always using the same one. Here's the list. In my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, from my perspective, from my point of view, personally, I think that. In my view, I'd say that. I believe that. I strongly, firmly believe that. I'm convinced that. There's no doubt in my mind that. I feel that. In my mind, it seems to me that. So let's take our idea again. We should hire a marketing expert to build our website. As far as I'm concerned, we should hire a marketing expert. In my opinion, in my mind, personally, I think that we should hire a marketing expert. So you can use any one of these, and remember, variety is key. You don't always want to say, in my opinion. You can absolutely use that, but you want to have variety. Now let's talk about agreeing with an opinion. So you're in a meeting and a colleague says, we should postpone the conference. Or your colleague used an opinion word and said, I firmly believe that we should postpone the conference. Now let's say that you agree with your colleague. What can you say? Well, again, here's a big list. Start with 1 to 2 and add them as you get comfortable. I agree. I agree with you. I think so too. That's a good point. You're right. Definitely, absolutely. I second that. I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't agree more. We're on the same page. You hit the nail on the head. So your colleague says, from my perspective, we should postpone the conference. And you say, I couldn't agree more. We should postpone the conference. You're right. We should postpone the conference. Absolutely, we should postpone the conference. I agree with you. Now let's say your colleague shared an opinion that started with, I don't think. I don't think we should postpone the conference. Personally, I don't think we should postpone the conference. We have one very specific phrase that you can use when you want to agree with a negative opinion. Do you know what that is? In my mind, I don't think we should postpone the conference. Neither do I. Neither do I. You only use this when you're agreeing with I don't think. Neither do I. Now let's talk about disagreeing with an opinion. So you're in a meeting and your colleague says, in my mind, we should look for a new supplier. Now you don't agree. What can you say? You can say, I disagree with you. I'm afraid I disagree. On the contrary, I understand where you're coming from, but I respect your opinion, but that's a good point. However, I see your point, but I have a different perspective. I think, can I share my opinion? That's one way of looking at it, but have you considered the fact that? Now, the first one I shared, I disagree with you, is probably the least commonly used because it sounds argumentative. And we generally want to say this softly to someone. So it's way more common to say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I disagree with you. It makes it a lot softer. Or you could acknowledge that I respect your opinion, but I don't think that's a good idea. I respect your opinion, but I think we should keep our supplier. My personal favorite in this category is I understand where you're coming from, but, and then you share your opinion or whatever information you like. I understand where you're coming from. This is another way of saying I respect your opinion. I understand where you're coming from, but right now isn't the best time to change our suppliers because it's our busiest time of year. We should wait until Q4. And remember, you can add your personal opinion words as well. From my perspective, in my mind, from my point of view, we should wait until Q4. So you can absolutely combine these different opinion words together. Now let's talk about sharing a general opinion. So something that most people would agree with. Here's a statement. Repetition is key when you're learning any new skill. Now, I personally believe this, but it's not my opinion per se. This is just a commonly held opinion by most people, by many different people. So here are some general opinion words you can use. It's said that, it's believed that, I've heard that, it's considered that, it's generally accepted that, most agree that, some say that, it goes without saying that, researchers, experts suggest that. So I could say it's generally accepted that repetition is key when you're learning any new skill. And personally, I agree. And personally, I couldn't have said it better myself. So you absolutely can share a general opinion, but then agree with that general opinion using one of the phrases you've already learned. Or maybe you want to disagree with this statement. Well, then of course you can use one of the phrases to disagree. On the contrary, repetition isn't that important. I'm afraid I disagree. Repetition isn't that important. In my mind, and then you can share your opinion. And finally, let's talk about how to ask someone for their opinion. So let's say I shared a general opinion. Most agree that repetition is key when learning a new skill. And I want to ask for your opinion on this specific topic. I can say, do you agree? What's your opinion? What do you think? What are your thoughts? What's your view? How do you see the situation? What's your take on it? What about you? How about you? Has that been your experience? What has your experience been? Are we on the same page? Is that something you would support too? So if you're talking to someone who's currently learning a new skill, it could be really interesting to ask them, has that been your experience? What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree? So now you have 50 plus phrases that you can use in any situation, formal, informal, professional meeting, casual party with friends, to talk about opinions, because everybody loves sharing their opinion, right? So now you get to share your opinion. I want you to share either a personal opinion or a general opinion related to the subject of languages in the comments below. And the fun part, you can look in the comments and then you can reply back to the other students and you can agree or you can disagree, or maybe you can even ask someone more information about their opinion. Try to use the different opinion words that you learned in this lesson. So have fun in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe. And before you go, make sure you head on over to my website, jforrestenglish.com, and download your free speaking guide. In this guide, I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently, and in my opinion, is really beneficial. Would you agree? And until next time, happy studying!